Hello and welcome back to No Parental Guidance for our last hurrah of 2025.
Instead of a regular episode today, we wanted to take a little trip down memory lane.
Angela Scanlon!
Hello!
Connie's here!
Hello, I'm here, everyone.
Davina.
We have got David Gandy on the podcast.
Yes.
Hello, so I'm just going to go upstairs and bang your door. Lovely to meet you. I'm David.
Today we've put together a special compilation of our absolute favourite bits.
So grab a final mince pie, settle in, and let's relive the best of the podcast's first 6 months.
Starting at number 12 is our first ever guest on the pod, the fabulous Angela Scanlon. Here's us talking to Angela about pelvic floor and her infamous moment on Strictly. Did you pee yourself at all on Strictly?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think I would have peed myself anyway, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. I remember doing rehearsals for the Charleston and it was quite a spicy number. And like there was a lot of hopping as there is in that, but ours was particularly bouncy. I remember Anton or somebody referring to me as like Tigger. I was quite, jumpy. And yeah, I did the rehearsal and I remember Carlos being like, what happened there? And I was too embarrassed because we were 3 weeks in at that point. I didn't know him well enough to be like,
I've just wet myself.
Just wet myself.
Oh, God.
And I was so embarrassed. And I was also so afraid because I was like, oh my God, what if this happens on the show?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot to like manage that while also managing your steps and also managing all of that stuff. But I will say, it's pretty solid now. So it was,
It's that though,
it was
when
a
it
kind
starts,
of baptism of fire.
like if you're doing a live show, when you start to wee yourself, it's almost like you can't stop it when it's that like, because the
Nervous
muscles are just like, dispersed and gone somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her. I can't believe we discussed pelvic floor on the first episode.
I know, first episode in and she's like,
Pissed
on
myself.
Strictly.
And so relatable. Like I myself.
Yeah.
I'll admit it, I have. And we need to look after our pelvic floor. In fact, I remember doing a TV commercial, and I don't know if I said this on that podcast. I had to jump on a trampoline for an entire day.
Oh God. After you'd had kids?
Yeah.
Oh Christ.
And I myself on this trampoline in front of a whole crew of people watching. And it stank. And then tried to hairdry it, and it was just bad.
And then it smelled of hot.
It was,
Yeah. So glamorous, isn't it? I love the fact that for our first guest, we just talked about incontinence straight away. And then we had Blue Peter icon Connie Hook talking about her postpartum days and a trip to the Baftas. Who knew that behind all that glamour was a mum just trying to hold it all together?
I was once at the Baftas in a sheer dress.
Oh gosh.
And I know.
And how old was your baby at this time?
Oh, still breastfeeding. So however many months. And honestly, I remember having to go to the toilets and then stuff loads of like tissue in my bra and also actually squeeze my boobs.
Oh,
security was like, there's a woman in there. I think she needs some help. Is she okay?
I mean, thank goodness the red carpet bit is first because I could see, 2 stains would be not a good look.
I remember that. I remember that episode. And I think we can all relate to that moment where your boobs just go, whoa.
Oh my God, when the milk comes in.
And your boobs are rock hard. But that feeling, if you are breastfeeding, when they latch on and it just that release of like.
Yeah, it's like squeezing a spot, isn't it?
Just suck it out.
Let it go. Let it go.
Did you ever drink your own?
Well, I tell you what, one day my husband really me off because
I love this story already.
He hadn't got up in the night. I didn't hear him. And I was like, you f***ing did. So I put my breast milk in his coffee.
Damn straight.
And I served it to him. And then there's I don't know if I should keep this in, but there's actually one time that my breast pump broke and I was like, Andy, you're gonna have to get some milk out of me. So I asked him to suck my and he was like and I was like, suck harder, Andy, suck harder. My second baby, I was like, right, not only am I going to breastfeed, I'm going to donate my breast milk.
Oh, wow.
So for Logan and Annabelle, I donated litres of the stuff. I was like a cow.
Did Andy get it out for you?
So, yeah, Andy, come on. But you can only do it within the first 6 months. So if anybody does listen, because people are crying out for wet nurses,
Right.
and you can contact, if you Google it, there's various through the NHS, and they come to your house and they collect your breast milk. You have to store it in a certain way.
Oh my God, I love that.
So I used to do 2 extra expresses a day. Now, in my head, I put myself under that pressure because I wanted to do that because I felt like I couldn't feed my first baby properly.
yeah.
Now, with hindsight, it's amazing. I genuinely donated litres, and it's for like NICU babies.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they test it obviously first, and you've got to have a certain diet. You do have loads of blood tests and everything first. But I remember sitting up and like expressing, and I went and did a netball presenting job, and I took a mini fridge with me. So I plugged the mini fridge in because I needed to get the extra sachets of milk out, as well as my normal feeds for the baby. And it was about 4 or 5 months old, and it was just like a 1-day job, so it's fine. And we sat at this netball event at the Copper Box in London, and somebody was like, oh, how come some of the lights have gone off on the left-hand side? And I was sat with all the sound and light engineering guys. And I was like, oh God. And I said, oh, sorry. I've just plugged my mini fridge in to put my breast milk in. And I was surrounded by these 18-year-old sound engineers and lighting engineers. And they're like, that's to operate the lights. And like the netball players can't see where they're going because half the lights are off in the arena. Sorry, babes, it's just my breast milk in
Oh my gosh, look like that woman.
Yeah.
Milk.
Yeah, but I'm not saying about I donated breast milk as if I need like an MBE.
That is a beautiful thing to do.
I think it was part of that was like when they say to you in the hospital, if your baby's got jaundice or if your baby's poorly, breast milk has obviously got more nutrients in at the time. And then they say, do you want a wet nurse? And I didn't know what a wet nurse was. And I was like, what's that? And it was, at the time I couldn't have any donated milk, but I would have probably taken it at that point when the baby, like when my kids were a bit poorly.
I think that's a really, really wonderful thing to do. I mean, I wish I could have given litres and litres, but my breast milk was just enough for what the baby that I had. And then I think when I started introducing the bottle, they're like, oh, I can get more out of this.
So hold on a second, this is way more efficient for me.
Yeah.
Number 10 is one of my favourite moments from the first episode. Louise told a story and I don't think I can ever get over it.
I actually did put a picture up on Instagram years ago, which still haunts me, actually, and maybe some others if they ever saw it. And this is, I literally became a mother. I gave birth, and for whatever reason, I just wanted to know how things were down there.
Oh, did you look?
Well, I had a little feel.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it. Literally pushed out, let's have a feel. No. And then a few days later, I was still quite intrigued, and I was breastfeeding the baby, and I wanted to have a little, I was kind of interested to know how things were. Couldn't quite, anyway, to get to the point, I took a picture of my parts.
You're not going to tell me you sent this in the WhatsApp group, are you, to parents? No, you're not going to say that to me, are you? Did you accidentally send it to somebody?
I put it on Facebook.
You put a picture of your vagina on Facebook after you gave birth?
Accidentally. Accidentally.
Did you actually?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God.
It was horrendous.
Oh my God.
I actually forgot I said this.
And like
It's something that
literally
still haunts me.
It was so funny.
No, horrendous.
Did anyone see it?
I didn't get any likes.
I was going to say, how
didn't
many
get any likes,
did you
but
get?
I have to just say that this was before I was on social media as I am now. It was only on Facebook, and I had, I think, about 200, 300 followers, which is still enough.
Still enough to see the vag.
And it haunts me.
But how many women have done that? When you've had a baby and they say, don't look. The first thing you want to do is look, don't you? And then
I had a good feel, yeah.
It's
I
hard
don't
to
recommend that either.
Yeah.
I don't know what possessed me. I was just intrigued. Seeing as you had your favourite moment of mine, I also have one of yours, Hannah. As a breastfeeding mum, I think we can all relate to this one.
Next fail. This happened to me just the other day. I'm a mum in the absolute trenches right now. I'm not sleeping at night, and I've just had a bit of a pulse for swearing. Don't worry about it. However, I've had to see the comedy in these moments. Anyway, I was so sleep deprived one day, all the days, and my baby is cluster feeding. And in my haze, I basically had a 2-hour window where my boob was out on full display. I'd answered the door to one delivery driver, a postman, and I'd also spoke to Mike from next door as I was putting out the bins.
Oh my God.
I didn't notice until my boobs started getting full again and leaking.
Oh my gosh.
This is
brilliant.
my
Awful,
favourite
but
kind
brilliant.
of story.
Yes.
I love it
her.
because we've all done it.
We've all done it.
Like,
I mean, maybe not so much out the whole time, but wow.
Barry from DPD has seen my more than my husband in the last 12 months, let me tell you. It's like you
my
forget. And then
gosh.
you need, I always felt like after I'd finished feeding, I just needed a bit of air to my boob because you constantly got those pads on, and then you know the cups that catch you like leaking milk everywhere. I felt like I just wet all the time.
Yeah.
So I just like to free them and air them. And the amount of times where I've gone and answered the door and stood there and been like, oh my God, and like half molded my it was like really like boulders in Parma ham just took around the door. It's just bleh.
Oh, Barry. You
Bazza.
made his day.
He's locally a legend. And I don't think I'm the first person to flash my tits to Barry because every mum does it, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, we're so sleep deprived and we don't know, our boobs when we're breastfeeding, they're not sexual.
No.
It's like, it's the canteen. It's lunch, it's dinner, it's all of it.
Yeah.
So yes, to me, it's just like, oh, nothing to see here. But to Barry, he's probably like, Jesus.
And because I went really Yorkshire then, because we're always on Amazon buying stuff. So DPD's always there.
Well, exactly.
We then had our first ever couple on the show and our first pregnant mama, Shan and Tay Cabs. They explained what they thought was the hardest stage of parenting, and I think we can all agree with them.
It was you that wanted a fourth, right?
It was
and
me
you had
indeed.
to convince Shan. So how did that all come about?
One time I was just looking at the kids. I was like, 4 just makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you find the age difference between your 16-year-old like going into like a newborn? How do you find the different stages, and which stage so far have you found the hardest?
Toddler stage.
Oh God,
That's the busy
holes.
Yeah.
Stop, move, don't touch. That bit
Yeah.
there is like,
Yeah.
that you
It's
can't sit
non-stop.
down.
Pulling
Yeah.
stuff out. Yeah,
It's
my
non-stop.
2-year-old's at that stage
That's the
now.
stage.
She was taking pots and pans out the other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
got 3 Weetabix out the cupboard and just stood in the living room, just crumbled them on the
Crumbled it,
floor.
yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh dear me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want you to be like,
cute, but annoying.
Yeah, they're
I love you
exploring.
so much,
They're
but why are you
exploring.
so like me?
Yeah. I think toddler.
Toddler stage.
Toddler
yeah.
stage.
Oh my God, the toddler stage, like we're in it at the minute. We are in the thick of it.
And I do feel for you. I do think it's one of the hardest stages of parenting. It is relentless.
like just with a drunk mate all the time. You don't know if they're going to run that way, if they
They're
want a snack, if
assholes.
they're going to poo themselves or wee themselves. I mean, it's like us really.
Well, yeah. And they are, the answering back,
Yeah.
the tantrums, all of it. It's hard. It's hard.
stood-
I've cried.
Have you?
Yeah, I've cried.
What, because because of their behaviour?
Behaviour.
It's a bit overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, just I got slapped in the face by my daughter in public at a family do, and it's when someone sees it.
Yeah.
But when I say sees it, I mean like they get it. And my husband's cousin, we're in Dublin, and she's absolutely amazing. She's got 3 of her own kids. She saw this happen, and she grabbed my daughter. I was holding her, and she took her off me, and she went, "Give me the baby." I'm really sorry for my Irish accent. Gave her to Jessie, and she went, "Come with me." She literally went to the bar. She went, "Drink this," and I was like, "Thank you." And it's when
did
someone
she?
recognizes
Yeah.
what you're going through, and they see it, and they're like, "I'm going to help you because I know how this is," and that's when I get emotional. I'm like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. This is so hard."
What a lovely thing to
Really
do, to
nice.
look at you
Yeah.
and recognise
Yeah.
that like
And
you're
she was
doing your
like, yeah.
best, and it doesn't matter, anyone can do their best, but if a toddler's going to have a tantrum, they are going to have a tantrum.
Yeah.
I took Annabelle to a gymnastics group last week, and she just had this tantrum where I was like, oh my God, and I felt really like I got sweaty because I was like, she wanted to wear certain clothes, and then she wanted a certain dummy, and I was trying to get the dummy off her, and all of a sudden that's when you get yourself worked up and become overwhelmed, and you're like, actually she's 2. This is a developmental stage where she's expressing herself. She can't communicate properly. That's okay. We just need to get through this phase. It's not her fault. She's just growing up.
It is a phase, and if you're listening now with a toddler, it is a phase, and yes, it can be Really hard.
Yeah, we've got news that Shan and Tay have had their little baby boy and he's absolutely gorgeous. So congratulations to them.
That's incredible news. In at number 7, we had comedian Harriet Kemsley on to talk about co-parenting and the one thing she found in her house post-breakup. I loved this episode. That really made me laugh.
So funny.
Talk us about your ex-partner's mold of a penis.
My husband's penis.
The fake one.
It's what is funny.
I just found that hilarious.
I literally
Sorry.
just put it on Instagram like 2 days ago. I was meant to just be promoting. We've got a live show of our podcast, Single Ladies, and I just happened to mention it as just an aside. And all week, people have been talking to me about it. And you're like, for God's sake, stop mentioning things about your husband's penis, your ex-husband's penis, like just in passing.
Do you still have it?
No, it's gone. It's finally gone. I don't know why I kept on it for so long.
Why
did I have it in the first place? Yes, good question. Very good,
Really good question.
Good question, actually. So we did this TV show years ago called Pants on Fire for E4, and it was so fun. We did all these mad challenges. So like we went to Mexico City and we took part in a lucha libre wrestling competition, and one of the challenges was that we got casts. I tattooed him, so he has a tattoo at the moment.
Really cool, actually.
Well, it's actually worked out. I've kind of scarred him forever. He has a tattoo that I did on his upper thigh, kind of right next to his penis of I've drawn myself and I've written my name underneath, and it's so bad because like I'm not a tattoo artist. I got a brief training, but it looks like, you know, on those primary school tea towels when they have like a picture of like a child is drawn, so he has that permanently on him. So apologies to any women, but it's me in the
That's
future,
brilliant.
but he's permanently scarred. Anyway, one of the things we did was we got plaster casts of our genitals.
But like,
I've actually lost my
flaccid or
vagina
erect?
somewhere. It's somewhere in the house.
It's somewhere in Clapham. We don't know.
Vagina.
You've lost your vagina
I've lost
somewhere.
my vagina somewhere in the house. I'm gonna put that on my to-do list. It's
fine.
What if your daughter finds it and takes it to nursery for show and tell?
Oh God, yeah,
Oh
that
my
would
God,
be.
can you imagine?
I don't think they'd be
Was
surprised
it was
at
obviously
this point.
post-baby
No, it was
vag
pre
moulding.
baby.
Okay, so
it's nice.
baby. Yeah, it's a nice reminder.
intense.
This
This is what she used to look like.
Yeah.
Put it on the wall. A reminder.
I found I got a new sofa. I found his particles of his penis behind the sofa, and then I was like, it was funny because my friend did a tarot card reading on me in February, and she was like, "You're holding on to something about your ex.
no,
I don't know what it is you're holding on to," and I was like, "I don't think so." I'm all his stuff out, like I've got his DVDs out, I've got everything, and then I was suddenly like, it's his penis, it's his penis that's behind the sofa. That's what I've been holding on to. And so I took it out and I put it, I went to go put it, we have like
Where did you put it?
well, on the estate where I live, we have these bins, and I went to go put it, and then as I did it, it like dropped on my foot, so it was like, it's got me one
It just didn't want to leave, did it? I just find it hilarious how she's broken up with her partner, trying to like, you know, fresh start, clean start, and then the one thing that she finds behind her sofa is his penis.
And spiritually, somebody was like, "You're holding on to something," and she was like,
Yeah.
"I'm not."
That's
It's
his
like
penis.
his is behind your sofa,
Yeah.
hun. And so good to have somebody that was first up talking about co-parenting, divorce, and that like mature approach that her and her ex-partner have taken.
Yeah,
you know, with looking
absolutely.
after the little girl and prioritizing
Yeah.
her and stuff. It's really refreshing and nice to hear.
Absolutely.
In at number 6, we had Ollie Locke. Now, he was our first dad on the pod, and honestly, we loved getting a peek into his journey to fatherhood. He proved that parenting completely strips even the chicest of parents.
We have been quite lucky. They have been on 27 flights so
Oh
far.
my
That's
word.
impressive.
So when they were in Sunderland, there was a bit of an issue where where they had to be flown down by an ambulance jet.
Wow.
Because it was too far to come in an ambulance. And so they started life on a little private jet,
Oh my
which I think is
God.
quite fabulous.
You loved
That's
it, didn't
brilliant.
you? Yeah.
That's
6
brilliant.
months after that, we decided to go to Barbados in business. And that was quite wonderful. We had a lovely time, long flight, nightmare with the kids, but it was fine because they slept.
course they did.
And then,
Yeah, of course they did.
of course they did, because they're sleepers.
What was the nightmare then on
And
the plane?
well, then we went to Ireland, and they cried the entire journey, and I was like, "This is a nightmare." And
It's
I
only
realized,
an hour.
well, I realized why. I realized what someone said on the first flight. And I said, "No, it's actually their 15th flight, and they started off on a private jet. They've been business. Now they're in economy. That's why they're crying."
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
From now on, it's like they're only business.
That's it. Oh my God.
Yeah, don't you think it must have been super hard? First time, that transition as a parent with 2 babies, changing nappies in an incubator, you know how small they are, and that would be like a boom.
It was great talking to Ollie, actually, having his take on fatherhood in a gay relationship, the journey that they went through. And I love how he was like, we started off with the kids flying business class and then we were in coach, and that's why they cried. And we were like,
Of course they cried.
I think they probably cried because it's a flight, not that they're flying in coach. But I thought that was hilarious.
We found that one tough because he was saying that his kids sleep so much.
Oh my, we were like, what's your parenting fail? I don't think I have any.
Yeah. We wanted like, they're up every hour.
You got twins, for crying out loud, twins.
And they just sleep like absolute dreams.
But he does have a nanny.
Yeah.
Like
he does have a nanny.
I think if anyone had a full-time nanny, they might sleep. For our number 5 moment, we had the brilliantly wonderful, full of energy, vigour and life, Anna Williamson. We absolutely love her. We discussed the data for couples having sex and actually how to keep the spark going in your relationship after you have kids.
Okay, what advice would you give to parents that are listening? I'm not just saying mums, in terms of like having date nights, keeping your sex life going. Sex and communication are so important.
Yes.
How do you advise people to keep that alive when you've got children, you're working, you're knackered, and you want to sleep? Like, how do you do it?
And firstly, the first thing to recognise is it's hard.
Yeah,
it is
hard.
You're in the trenches.
Well, it is, babe.
I understand.
If you're lucky, it is. Not in my house. Sorry, Al. No. It's difficult. I think the first thing to recognise, accept that you're in the same boat as everybody else, and don't compare yourself to everybody. I mean, I think there's some wild stats going around that the average couple has sex once a week. I mean, I think that is wide of the mark. But I know.
No. I mean, I did an Instagram poll on my stories.
Oh, go on.
And I said, how often do you have sex with your partner?
What's the data?
Yeah, what did you
The
get?
data I got was was once every 3 months.
There you go. Yeah, I was just going to say.
Really?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there you
Once
go.
every 3 months was the average.
Was the average? Yeah, and I was going to say, my research, I would say not far off that.
Yeah.
But I think this sort of wildly inaccurate once every week is, again, it's, and I think, but I mean, but look, it is what it is to everybody. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly am not having it once a week, but you never know. Every now and again, we might. Do you ever get this when suddenly, if we're out of the house, if we're on holiday or something? Oh my God! But you suddenly feel like you're reborn. I'm just like,
oh my God,
we're quite
It's like,
good at this.
it's like the ovulation horn every day on holiday.
Spat everywhere. I was that excited. But 3 days. I'm only horny 3 days a month. The ovulation, 3 days. But as you say, I mean, over the summer holidays, we went away with the kids. They'd gone to sleep. Of course, they had interconnecting
Your daughter
room.
didn't know, did she?
She didn't bloody go to sleep, Hannah. No, that was an iPad. Get the iPad on.
Okay, we're done. Go to sleep.
Yeah, and it was like, fancy a shower. Yeah, go on then. And it was like, oh my God. And we even said to it, I mean, this is how sad it is. We even fist pumped each other.
I wondered what you were going to say then.
Something else. I was like,
I'm not going to reveal everything about my sex life, but let me tell you what we do with our fists on
Can I say
holiday.
that's now going to be clipped up
fist
to,
bumps.
and we fist.
Anyone
And that's going to be a clip now. Brilliant.
I do think she was one of my favourite episodes.
Same.
I feel
was.
like we really chatted.
Yeah.
Like, I know that we do with all our guests, but I felt like had someone just cracked open a bottle of wine, would have stayed here all night.
Yeah. And it's nice actually to hear how often do other couples have sex, and how much do other couples prioritise it? Because, you have a kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever, you've got a job, you're busy, you want to see your friends and have a tidy house, and all, like we talk about this mental load.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, like, that intimacy with your partner is sometimes like, well, I've got other things to do. I need to do the ironing, or I need to do, and then you think back to the beginning of your relationship where you used to be like, really spicy and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like a couple of kids deep, you're not very confident with your body. Then all of a sudden you think, oh, am I different because I don't really want to do it at the moment. Now, our next guest, when we heard she was up for coming on the pod, we both just could not believe it. Now, Davina is an icon, though, isn't she? She's a national treasure with everything that she's gone through, and still to be so positive and upbeat is just a sign of an amazing person.
had like a quite a disjointed childhood. So I was born. My mum had preeclampsia, so my granny saved my life, and she said to my mum, "I don't think you're well. I'm going to take you to hospital right now." And she had an emergency cesarean there and then, and I was a month premature. Wow. So my mum, she was kind of the OG wild child, unbearably gorgeous, wild, hadn't been brilliantly parented herself, had been given money really, but no parental love or guidance. And so just didn't have the tools to do it. Mm-hmm. I understand all of that a lot better now. I'm a bit older. At the time, I found it a bit confusing. But when I was 3 or 4, my mum and dad split up, and my mum took me to my granny's, my dad's mum, Pippi, legend. And my mum said, I'm going to go on a ski holiday and I'll come back and get you. And she didn't come back. Oh, now, gosh. I'm not trying to paint. I'm not a victim, and I'm not, but it set me up on a people might not show up kind of trajectory.
So your barrier was up, would you say?
So, well, no, I just didn't feel safe.
Right.
We were talking about that earlier, right? About feeling safe and how important it is for kids.
Yeah.
Boundaries make you feel safe. And when somebody stands by the boundary, if you do that again, we are not going to the family party that we've all been looking forward to for 3 months, and they do it again, then we did not go to the family party that we'd all been looking forward to. As much as I wanted to go, and I thought to myself, I must not make a boundary like that again. Why did I not do or you can't have sticky toffee pudding after dinner? Like, what a stupid boundary. But I would have to stick to it.
Yeah.
Because I knew it made them feel safe. She does what she says she's going to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that, me not feeling safe in my childhood, knew that I wanted my kids to feel safe in their space and nurtured and loved.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I remember on the first day of nursery, the first day of term for nursery started at midday. I finished at midday, but the first term of nursery for newbies would finish at 11, and I forgot, and I turned up at midday and they'd gone and everybody'd gone. And a friend of mine had picked up, I think it was Tilly, and taken her back to her house. It was very triggering for me.
Yeah.
So I used to get forgotten at the airport. When I went to visit my mum, she wouldn't be there. This sounds like a very high-class problem, but I got forgotten at ski school. I was constantly being taken back. I went skiing when I was a little girl with my mum, constantly getting taken back to the ski instructor's house. Again, not a sob story, but what it meant was when I was late for Tilly once, I was catatonic. I mean, I've never cried so hard. I was driving over to my friend's house. I was like, oh my God, that's such a bad parent. I turned up and she's having a lovely time playing with her friend in the garden. And my friend was so good with me. She talked me down. She said, this is normal.
Yeah.
Because it's triggered you in some way. But what you've done today is completely normal parenting, i.e. you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now what she taught me then, I mean, I have learned the best life lessons from being a parent and from my children, right? Yeah. I guess you have too.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
But sorry.
No, I was going to ask you about how you parent now, like now that your children are in their 20s.
What I love about that moment was she taught me that it was all right to say, I'm really sorry, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
But because my children felt safe, they accepted that and knew that it wasn't going to be every single time. Yeah. And they went, oh, that's fine, don't worry.
There's no resentment there, is there?
And then what they started doing and what they still do now is say to me, I'm sorry, Mum, I made a mistake. And I'll go, it's fine, don't worry, we all do.
Yeah.
And that's one of my most favourite things. And that came from something that happened with my mum that taught me a brilliant lesson. You know what I mean? In the long run.
Yes, that's a lovely way to look at it, actually.
Nothing is bad. Nothing. No calamity that you have in your life is bad. If you learn something from it, let there be learning.
How amazing was Davina?
Oh,
Isn't she just exactly how she is? When you see her on telly, she's exactly the same.
It's like we've grown up with her on Big Brother, and loads of people after the podcast was like, you know, and they say, what was Davina like? Is she? And I'm like, she was the same with everybody at reception to coming in here with like the production team to us. She was so lovely and exactly what you see on TV.
And the most genuine hugs.
Yeah, and she smelled amazing, didn't she? Oh, she smelled so good.
She's honestly, I'm so honoured to have had her.
Yeah, we were so excited, weren't we?
Like absolutely amazing, and really interesting to hear her stories and what she thought was her parenting fail because of her upbringing.
Really triggered her, didn't it?
Really did
that
trigger
situation. Her. And when she said about like forgetting to pick her child up, we were both like that. Oh yeah, we did that last week. Yeah, we do it. We do that all the time, Davina. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's fine.
It's normal. You're on the right track. We also had Pussycat doll Kimberly Wyatt. What a superwoman and super mum. She was so lovely and funny, and her story of going back on tour with the Pussycat dolls after giving birth was insane.
I'd worked really diligently to try and get the dolls back together for our reunion performance. And it was a good 2.5 years of lots of chats and trying to get everybody on the same page. And then just as we signed contracts, I'd not been feeling very well and I didn't know what that was all about. So my husband was like, you know, just take a pregnancy test just so we can rule it out. So I go in and take the pregnancy test and realize, I'm quite pregnant.
Oh, God. How far were you at that point?
I think at that point I was 7 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then I realized, well, God, I put all this work into making it happen. What does this look like? So looked at the timeline, was like, okay, if I could have the baby and then be back on stage within 7 weeks, then we can do this. So I found a brilliant doctor who was with me through the whole thing and just sort of went in and gave me a little stitch after the cesarean, and it was on call leading up to that big
little
performance.
stitch after the cesarean.
Get those abs back
You've
together.
literally had your body hacked in half. Like, this doctor was great. He just did a little stitch.
Just reach
back on stage in what, 7
weeks? Yeah. So I was breastfeeding my baby backstage at the X Factor, and then took the stage. And I mean, we were dancing in water. We were jumping off big stages. We were being caught by the dancers. And of course, at the end, I do my big leg lift. So it was an act of bravery and sacrifice.
But actually, how? Like, how did that even work? I mean, like, after I gave birth, I don't think I'd even I mean, there's no way. I mean, you're doing splits and everything. How?
Were you still wearing your maternity pants?
Yeah.
At that
yes.
point?
I had maternity pants and Spanx under the latex and stilettos.
Oh my God, I love that.
It was insane.
And what did the other Pussycat dolls say? Because obviously when you tell your friends you're pregnant, I imagine everyone's obviously very happy for you.
Yes.
But then everyone's going to go, hold on a second.
You're ruining this.
You're going to ruin our performance. How does that work? Can you still do the high kicks in our performance? That's what. But it must have been they'd be quite worried about you.
Yeah, they were. They were certainly a bit worried, and I just made it a sort of a pledge to myself. We were ready for a world tour. It was a really big thing. So as far as the fact that I have my own things going on, I didn't want it to sort of get in the way of the creative process. So I had my husband there keeping the clock on to bring the baby as I'm in the middle of rehearsing. Okay, it's time to breastfeed, get on this boob or that boob. Wow. But it was in the lead up to our dress run for X Factor, and we had to dive a swan dive and be caught by the dancers. This was the one time I was
7 weeks after a C-section, it's swan diving onto a bunch of men.
Aren't you supposed to not do much after you've had a C-section?
So this is the one time I'm going to have to speak up. I was like, if I swan dive and you catch me by the tummy, this will end very badly.
Oh my gosh.
So if we could just amend it so we could flip in the air and you could catch us by our backs, then we could be okay.
Can we just discuss?
Oh my gosh.
She had a C-section, and then 7 weeks later, when I think you're supposed to still be resting or taking it easy, she's flying off a stage and being caught by other dancers, but
with a doctor at the side of the stage, just in case.
Thank God. But then they changed the routine. She didn't land on her front. She landed on her back because of the in case of tearing. Can you imagine?
And what I admire so much about that is that she had the pressure as a mum to get back to who you were and what you did before. And she didn't want to let any of the other girls down. She didn't want to let any of the production team down. And it wasn't a case of her being like, oh, I'm doing this for me. It was like, actually, there's a big picture here. And I just found it so inspiring that was her approach to be like, okay, I can do this. And how supportive her partner was, where the baby was there. She breastfed, put her Spanx on and went out on the stage. I'm like,
she was
that
incredible.
Is absolutely
I think
incredible.
she said she wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, she did.
Good for her for actually doing it. And you're absolutely right. It was for her fans. You know, she's got such a huge fan base, and you don't want to let them down. But yeah, I mean, that sounded like a lot.
Yeah.
But
I was like worried about falling off the sofa 7 weeks after giving birth, let alone doing a backflip and a somersault and a pike or something. Like,
she really was iconic, wasn't she? When she was sitting here and she put her leg in the air, and she's just, and she was another one, actually, one of my favorite episodes.
Well, you would never have expected a Pussycat doll to be that down to earth.
No.
You would think, oh, maybe is this something that she's kind of lost perspective of?
Yeah.
But it's like, actually, no, she's a mum of 3 kids. She's in the school WhatsApp group. She does a school drop-off pickup. Like, she's
got her own dance school.
Now, the guest that really shook things up here in the No Parental Guidance studio was the arrival of model David Gandy. All the women from the office turned up that night, didn't they? Hair and makeup were done. It was the whole scene. But he really showed off a side to him that we hadn't seen before.
What were you like when your partner was in labour?
Oh, I failed at that. I think failed in a. We still argue about what happened because I kind of turned into George Clooney from ER.
Right.
I suddenly thought I'm delivering this baby. I was fascinated by the whole process. I was down the business end. The midwife had to ask me if she could have her stool back and whether I could get out the way.
Oh my God, I love that.
So I was there for that. I mean, the Matilda was difficult. It went on for poor Steph. It was, I always say, it's like watching something attack your partner that you love so much and you can't do anything about it apart from a TENS machine and
rubbing backs.
Or do what my husband did and just go for a coffee.
My husband went to the cheese counter for an hour. I'm not kidding.
My husband was so worried that we were going to get a parking ticket. It was like, I've only put 4 hours on the car. And at that point, I was like, why the f*** did you put 4 hours on?
I was there for 4 days. Jesus Christ.
It sounds like you were very much involved. I love that.
So you were so at the business end. That's impressive.
Yeah. Also, I've got film. I feel like Matilda, like, crown her head is out like this.
Wow.
You have to take a picture of that.
If my husband tried to take a picture of my when my baby was hanging out with you.
It wasn't, there's nothing at that point. There's nothing sexual or anything about it. It's just this miracle. And I was just fascinated by the whole thing. Because it is like, you can't see anything. It's a baby's head.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. And Tabs was lazy. Tabs kind of shot out the second time. It was a lot quicker. But I couldn't leave. Steph she didn't want me to leave with Matilda because it was, and I sort of remember I had like the TENS machine sort of going, and then music, and Steph joked she was on sort of like gas and air, and she was like bouncing on the ball, and then I think the TENS machine sort of went off for like 3 seconds, and she kind of had the gas and air. It kind of changes your voice, and she kind of just went, TENS machine. That's like, oh God.
What I loved about having David on is you did see a completely different side to him.
Yeah.
Talking about seeing the birth of his children, being at the birthing end.
He had a stool, didn't he? Like,
he was like right in there. Like what, he said he was like George Clooney out of VR. Brilliant. Can you imagine? And just, can you even imagine? Just like looking down. There's David Gandy.
I was going to say something extremely rude then about David Gandy looking at my vagina, but... Cut that bit out and fucking welcome it. I'm joking. Cut that out.
That's actually one of the first times we've heard David Gandy talk about that part of his life.
Yeah.
He's usually quite private about that. We managed to get it out of him.
Which was lovely because you kind of make assumptions, I think, with a lot of people, especially somebody like David Gandy. He's like a huge star, isn't he?
And I think lots of people, and he said this, like, are you normal? Yes, I'm normal. I'm a human being. Like, my partner's giving birth. I'm going to be there. I want to see it all, of course. But I think because you are in the public eye and you are this male model in your pants, people just assume that you're not normal.
Yeah, but actually he's got 2 daughters he's very protective over, and he's a dad and takes his role really seriously.
Yeah, and I love how he's really in tune as well with women's hormones, talking about women going through perimenopause and the horny patch. And, you know, I thought that was really great. I've got to send Jessie like articles like, this is what I'm going through. Read it. Of course, we've saved the best until last. Trinny Woodall was absolutely, by far, our ultimate dream guest. She shared so much with us that she has never, ever shared before. Take a look at this. So how many weeks were you when she was born?
She was meant to be born at the end of November, and she was born in October. So I don't know, 6 weeks.
And all of that apprehension, all of the 5-6 years of everything you've been through. And when you talk then, it was so raw and so relatable because we've both been through experiences and especially having fertility treatment, which I had to as well. It's that that feeling when you hold that baby for the first time. What, like, describe that moment when you held her?
It was a mix. It was a mix because I had to have a cesarean because she, couldn't come out. And so there was a fear all the way through that process. And then she came out and Johnny was holding her. And I said, is she okay? And he went, she's great. Just a little thing around her legs. And I remember pulling back the things and her legs were back to front. She had very bad talipes in both her feet because she'd been back to front and upside down. So her feet were like club feet and back to front.
Oh my gosh, really?
And so I remember looking at her and thinking she'll never walk. I remember that feeling. She will never walk. And then Tio came in and he said, I found this guy. He's the best person. And Trinny, we're going to operate on her now. And he's going to break all her bones and reset them.
Oh my gosh.
So they took her off.
And this was straight after she was born.
Yeah.
Within that moment, you just looked at her, processed.
I think they maybe did it the next day. Anyway, she came back from hospital with these casts on her little baby legs, which stayed on for about 6 weeks, and had to be changed every 2 weeks. And she had to have special shoes, and then she had to really she learned to walk a little bit differently. And then she's, by the time Lila was 2, she was absolutely fine.
Again with Trinny, seeing her open up about her journey to become a mother, 16 rounds of IVF, the miscarriages she's had. We were both sitting here almost in tears. I don't know about you, but I was really feeling it.
It's amazing to have listened to her journey where she said about like the 16 rounds of IVF, whilst we know her for Trinny and Susanna on TV, filming and helping women, empowering women by helping them dress. And actually behind the scenes, she was going through something that, you wouldn't wish that on anybody. And when it was kind of like she was coming back to London, having blood tests, and it was like, she was like bleeding, and it's like, another miscarriage, and there are so many.
While she's getting on with filming. Like, I'm bleeding. I must be miscarriaging. All right, let's go to the next scene. Like,
people are waiting for
mentally.
her.
That's a lot. And I know that there are probably some women listening now that went through that. I mean, I remember myself. I knew that I'd miscarried, and I was waiting for my D&C operation. But I was on set doing a modelling shoot, and they wanted me to be all like full of joy and laughter, and it took every inch of my being to try and do that. And it's funny because the pictures from that shoot, I find it really difficult to look at them.
Well, it's that negative association you have.
That was an amazing episode where we saw Trinny in a very, very different light, but also her same fabulous self.
And the whole going through, it's interesting you say you did like a modelling shoot. I had to present a cycling show on British cycling on Eurosport the day after I'd had the operation, and I got home at midnight and I had to be there at 7 the next day. And it's like, there is another Hannah East coming up that wants that job, and it's like, you're modelling, you have to get on with it, you're contracted. Or Trinny, she's doing a show, and it's whether you're doing something like in media or not, or the next day you've got to get up for your kids, so you've got to go to work. It's like, people say the world just goes on, but actually in that moment you've really kind of stopped, and it takes a while to take stock. And that's why it's really important. I know we kind of laugh about like taking the out of parenting, but actually we know how lucky we are, and we're extremely fortunate that we've got our amazing kids. Perhaps we don't say that like 2 o'clock in the morning when they're waking up, but we are very lucky to be able to be on this journey.
And how strong women are and what we go through, it really makes me look at women in another light and just think, you are amazing.
And you see like Trinny's really positive story, like it was incredible. And her relationship with her daughter, beautiful. I mean, I would want to be close with her if she was my mum because of her handbag collection.
Yeah,
like
wardrobe.
Jesus.
Hello. Amazing.
Well, that's it. Thanks to our guests of 2025. We've absolutely loved having you.
We are also thrilled to say we're having a bit of a glow up for 2026. We're moving house. We have a new studio.
Yep, the new year brings a whole new us and a whole new No Parental Guidance. That's right. We're expanding and we can't wait to share more with you.
Catch you all in 2026, guys, and have a fab new year. Bye.
Bye.